Welcome to Time of Death. This video is for informational purposes and in no way meant to glorify or condone violence. In today's video, we'll be discussing the murder of Duncan Eric Batiste. Batiste died on Sunday, October 25th, 2009, after being shot in the 400 block of Walnut Avenue in Long Beach, according to LA County coroner records. Kai Edwards was subsequently arrested and charged with the murder. The following is the evidence at trial. On January 29, 2009, Duncan Batiste was shot outside his home on Walnut Avenue in Long Beach, suffering wounds to his neck and chest, which rendered him paralyzed. He died several months later as a result of the neck wound without having left the hospital. D. Falk testified he was visiting a friend in the neighborhood at the time of the shooting. He was on his friend's balcony sometime between 6:30 and 7 p.m. when he saw an African-American man enter the walkway of the building next door. The man, whom he later identified as defendant, was wearing a black hooded sweatshirt, jeans, and Nike shoes with protruding tongues and oversized laces. Moments later, Falk heard a gunshot and some shouting and saw defendant slowly running or jogging away holding something. At trial, Falk identified defendant in court and identified photographs of defendant wearing his distinctive Nike shoes. Officer Ramel Chavez and several other Long Beach police officers were nearby and went immediately to the scene in response to a radio call. Officer Chavez testified that as he and Officer Sean Deaton approached Walnut Avenue, he saw two African-American men running away from the area. Defendant was removing and discarding clothing as he ran, a common tactic of suspects trying to change their appearance. The two suspects separated as they ran, and soon afterward, Officer Deaton detained defendant, while Officer Chavez detained the other man, later identified as Travion Toller. Falk was taken to each suspect's location for a field identification. He was first shown Toller, who he did not identify. He was next shown defendant and identified him as the man he saw entering the building next door and running away after the gunshot. Officer Oscar Morales went to the scene of the shooting at approximately 6:45 p.m. and collected a .25 caliber bullet casing and other evidence. Not far from the scene of the shooting, Sergeant Douglas Richard Bender found a discarded blue sweatshirt. When he picked up the sweatshirt, a gun fell out of the pocket. Other items in the pocket included a receipt from an area mini-mart. A surveillance video obtained from the mini-mart depicted defendant and Toller next to each other approximately 45 minutes prior to the shooting. Defendant is seen wearing a dark-colored hooded sweatshirt and a blue baseball cap. Forensic specialist Nancy Preston performed gunshot residue tests on defendant and Toller. Defendant was tested at 8:25 p.m. the night of the shooting. Detective Hubert submitted the samples to the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department Crime Lab, where analyst Joseph Cavallari analyzed the results and determined that both were positive for gunshot residue. Cavallari explained that positive tests meant the defendant and Toller could have fired a gun, handled a gun, been next to someone who fired a gun, or touched the surface with gunshot residue on it before being tested. Firearms expert Troy Ward testified that he tested the gun and the recovered bullet casings as well as two expended bullets recovered from the victim's body by the coroner. Ward determined that the gun was a .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol which had ejected the shell casing recovered at the scene. He also determined that the bullet recovered by the coroner from the victim's neck had been fired from the same gun. Long Beach police officer Chris Zamora testified as the prosecution's gang expert. He was familiar with the insane Crips and had personally investigated the gang throughout most of his 10-year career. The insane Crips territory was primarily central Long Beach with smaller pockets in North and South Long Beach. Some of its 900 members were spread throughout California. Officer Zamora had investigated insane Crip gang activity in San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange counties. He explained that there were small subgroups or cliques within the insane Crip gang, each with its own identifying signs or symbols. One such clique was known as Baby Insane. Although most Crip gang members wore blue, some members of the Baby Insane clique wore red. The clique had adopted the Cleveland Indians team logo, sometimes using the feather as its sign and sometimes using the entire logo. Members of the Baby Insane clique were young and very violent. Officer Zamora was familiar with the insane Crips' rival, the Rolling 20 Crip gang, and had investigated criminal activity by its members most of his career. Officer Zamora believed that the victim, Batiste, was a member of the Rolling 20s as well as an OG, which meant he was a somewhat older, more respected gang member. Batiste had an Eastside 20s tattoo on his arm. Officer Zamora was asked to give an opinion after assuming the following hypothetical facts. A member of the insane Crips goes to the 400 block of Walnut Avenue in January 2009, walks up to a Rolling 20s member, and shoots him. The shooter is caught a short time later in the evening wearing a Cleveland Indians cap. In Officer Zamora's opinion, the crime was committed for the benefit of and in direction of a criminal street gang. The second suspect, arrested the night of the shooting, Travion Toller, died on May 16, 2010 after being shot in Long Beach. Following the trial, defendant Kai Edwards was convicted of murder in the first degree, including gun and gang allegations. On August 25, 2011, the court sentenced him to 50 years to life in state prison. Duncan Eric Batiste was 34 years old at the time of death.